For those of you who don't know me, I'm Henry Calvert. I'm an influencer. I know, I'm not going to try and sell you teeth whitening. No, I talk about theatre and film online, so it brings me a lot of joy to be asked to be hosting this today. Did we all enjoy the show? Yes, all shed a tear. Yes, brilliant. Well, I've got a few questions for our wonderful cast here, and then we're going to open it up to you guys at the end, time permitting. So guys, do you want to go along the line, introduce yourselves, and maybe say who you play as well, even though we've just seen it.
Hi, I'm Phoebe Kyriakopoulos. I played Esther.
Mm.
I'm Jordan Luke Gage. I played William, and I wrote it.
He's quite talented.
I'm Rebecca Locke, and I play Mother.
I'm Stephen Serlin, and I played the officer, Boo, and Felix.
There he is. Right, Jordan, starting out, you are the writer. This is your brainchild.
Yeah.
When did you first learn about this story, and what was the instance you went, this needs to be a musical?
It was about almost 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I found the article in the Bristol Museum. My partner's family are all from Bristol, and I was down there at the time, and I knew I wanted to write something. I had never written anything before, and I knew I wanted to write a true story. And so I went to the Bristol Museum, and I asked if they had any LGBTQ+ stories from history, and the lady said that they had actually found this article just a few days prior, and she brought it out, and it basically detailed that last image of the day that they were executed, and how William and Richard refused to apologise for their sins because they no longer found them sinful, and that they would rather not live in this world if they couldn't be with each other and be their true authentic selves. And then Richard took William's hand and kissed it, and they were launched into eternity. And it was just that paragraph that it just gave me chills, and I just realised this is the story that I was supposed to find and supposed to tell. And yeah, from that moment to now, it's just been this whirlwind of me locking myself away in my house and writing for 3.5, 4 years, and yeah, finally we've put it here on the stage. So it's been a journey. Yeah.
But we're all theatre kids here as well, and it's been kids. It's been a joy seeing the theatre community rally around you and this show as a new piece of work. I mean, I remember seeing it at Musical Con. I think you came and did a song at Musical Con. And seeing it grow from there has been an absolute joy, and seeing everybody else get involved now, it's great. So this Q&A is supposed to be based on characters, so that's what we're going to be focusing on, characters, performers, all that kind of thing. So can you tell me, when finding these wonderful performers, what was it that drew you to them specifically for these roles?
Yeah, so each for a different reason actually. So Rebecca, I kind of wrote the role around her. I've worked with Becky in the past. We did a workshop prior to when we started REDCLIFFE, and I know how fantastic she is at comedy. Also, her voice is just, there are no bounds to her voice. The soprano and also the belt, it's just, yeah, she's an incredible talent. And so when I started writing the role, I had her in mind instantly, and I voice noted her maybe 6 weeks into writing it, and I said, it was very early, and I said, listen, I'm writing something, and I think we're going to workshop it in the new year, and I would love you to do it. Are you free on these dates? Yada yada yada. She listened to a couple of the songs, and she was like, yeah, this sounds great, I'll do it. And so she's been on board from the very beginning, and so there was never anyone else.
There was no one.
No. Stephen, when we presented the first act, which was the first workshop we just did Act 1. So the role of the officer and Felix, they weren't present at that point. I hadn't even written them yet. So Stephen came on for the second workshop. Stephen I did Heathers with years ago, and I just think he's hilarious and scary. Again, so when I had written the draft of this, the full show, Stephen was the first person I thought of, and so we checked with Stephen, and he was available, and he came on board back then. So that was two and a bit years ago, and he's also been with it since then. And then Phoebe's our newbie, who has just graduated from Lambda, and I saw her in a production of Spelling Bee, her third year production, and she was amazing, and she just I found her performance so mesmerizing, and such a natural actress. Her voice obviously is so gorgeous, and then I left and I said to my friend who choreographed it, that girl's really great, and when we start auditioning for REDCLIFFE, there's a part I think she would be great for. And bless her, I think word got back to Phoebe, and then I received like 6 emails from Phoebe within like the space of a month or so. It was like, hi, just wondering, are you doing auditions yet?
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'll let you know as soon as we do. Checking in. Anyway, we got her in. She obviously was incredible, and she got the job.
It's like Northern Ethos. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's amazing. Well, you guys have clearly worked together on most stuff before. You mentioned Heathers. What's the difference between working on kind of a pre-established show as opposed to being in like a show that's developing? Is it growing as well? And also, you've got your writer in the show with you as well.
That's
What's
Yeah.
that process like in finding these characters? And
I feel very lucky that, you know, that voice note that Jordan sent is that I'm writing this mad Bristolian mother and I can't get you out of my head. I don't know why. And so that immediately sparked my interest, this bonkers woman. And I think I'm very lucky the fact that you have written with my voice and my personality in mind, because I find the dialogue that I have, you know, read immediately or whatever, just fit. It just, I didn't have to think about it. It just kind of tumbled out of me, this bonkers woman, because you know me and you know my rhythms and you know that. So I felt very lucky, you know, this was a very, very lovely shoes to walk in immediately for me.
So, well, it's actually following on from what Jordan said, which is really funny. I love a voice message, and I can talk for days. And but so can this guy, and I just love that we're so similar in that way. And throughout the whole, I fell in love with it 2 years ago, literally, and the officer has grown since then. But as Jordan said, Felix didn't exist, and we weren't sure if it was going to work out for this time, and then we did about 50 voice messages to each other in December. We never spoke. We only just did voice messages. And I love his energy as you do mine. And he was so excited. He was like, I've spoken to a dramaturg, we need to do this character, and I think it's you. And look, and I couldn't believe he written the song within 24 hours. And I listened to the song, and I just went, yep, I'm in. And I just love his energy, and it's funny, I never look at, he's such a, I think it's really important. I did a show just before this one, and it's the opposite of this. The writer of that was very, when you write these shows or plays, you mustn't treat it too much like your child. You have to let it go into the big wide world. And he's amazing at that. He's very generous. He listens all the time. He's very open to change and suggestions. So I've never had a problem with him as the writer. He's always just very
You
open.
have to say that. Or
No,
else-
it's true. It'd be wonderful to have you in the room so we can go, babe, I don't think she should say that. I think she should say the
Yeah.
other one. And you go, okay, try that.
Yeah.
And you've been very open to that, which
Yeah,
I think has been very
yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Rather than go, no, you must say exactly what I said.
That's
You
it.
know.
And I think that's what I've discovered doing this as well, is because I've been in original companies of so many shows, and I'm always quite vocal in the process of creating something, and I always have my thoughts and my opinions. So I would be doing an absolute disservice if I then had written a show and I'm not taking on board the other actors' opinions and thoughts, because they're the ones that have to say it and sing it every day. And like, I think sometimes as a writer you might have certain things that you say, no, listen, you have to just trust me on this. This beat is, this moment's going to work, or this line will work. Just give it a go. But I'd say 70% of the time you have to go, okay, cool. Let's explore what you think. It's a collaboration, I think.
Well, Phoebe, coming out of somewhere like Lambda, which I imagine is quite an intense, rigid, structured thing. I lasted a month at drama school. Coming into this very kind of collaborative, growing production, that must have been quite a shift. How did you find that?
I mean, the whole process has just been like absolutely incredible. To be doing my first job with like John Cage and Becky Locke and Steve and like the whole cast, just I feel like every single day I was just learning so much and absorbing so much in such a practical way. But it's nice to like not feel as observed, I guess. At drama school, you're always like, let me do this because I think they want that, and blah blah blah. Whereas this was more like, let's try this, let's do this. And people would make mistakes all the time. You'd be like, oh well, if these pros of however many years can do that, then I can too. And it was just, yeah, it was instantly like such a comforting, warm environment to be working with all these incredible people, and yeah, just the best time ever.
That's so lovely. So nice. Of course, a bit more of a specific question for each of your characters, because of course, whilst it is based on a true story, this is a story that, you know, it's an event that took place in the 1700s. So there's no real kind of direct reference to these people. So I wondered if there were any kind of real life examples that you may have drawn upon for these characters, or kind of maybe even been inspired by in the writing as well.
Oh, that's a really hard one. Do you like base your character on anything when you
immediately? Well, I think I've kind of based it on my mother. She was a lioness. She has 5 children, and she would punch anyone's face in if she had to. Do you know what I mean? She's one of those. She would protect and go above and beyond for her children. And she was a woman that loved so fiercely. That was happy or sad or whatever. It was fierce, and so her emotion was always there on the front foot. And she loved Christmas. Christmas was her favourite, my mum, and she was so happy. I mean, she'd have the decks up at the end of October. As soon as Halloween was over, up they were up. So it's kind of her.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
I mean, you've had a chance to play some other maternal figures on stage. You just did Freaky Friday.
Yeah, I played lots of
That's
mums.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes.
What makes this specific mother, literally the mother, stand out in that?
Well, it's just much the journey she goes through in this. You know, it's not really the same as Mrs. Banks in Mary Poppins or Freaky Friday, you know, swapping souls with your 16-year-old daughter. It's not, this journey is so visceral and real, and people go through these things every day with their children or their mothers or fathers or whatever, and it's very special, I think, to feel that raw emotion. You know, I have a 23-year-old son as well, so it's even realer, yeah, and I can go there quite quickly because I have this as my own. So to even think for a second that my son had to go through anything that William did, wow, yeah. So I just feel very connected to it.
Absolutely, that's powerful stuff. Stephen, you're really good at being bad. You're a good baddie. Yeah, you did that amazingly, man.
Thank you.
I'm looking at your smile now, and you look so nice and inviting. You do that smile on stage, and I'm like, it's crawling. But both of the characters that you play, whilst clearly evil, both kind of represent different facets of, I guess, kind of the mindset of that time period. Can you explain a little bit about the facets that you're trying to display there?
Sure. So the officer, as much as within the show, you know, I write reams on a script and ideas, and I still have to look at them now just to keep those thoughts in my head. I pick out a new thought, and so I write people that I've seen, I love. I'm a movie and a TV geek, and so straight away, you know, I put Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards. I have played a lot of evil guys, but never with a smile, and I found that 2 years ago actually. There used to be a scene where I used to slap the mum, which was awful, and in the audience they used to go, and I just remember like locking in. Okay, if this ever comes around again, I'll just use the smile. So I'm really pleased you set it up the smile, because and I've never done a role like this where he just smiles, and yet it's really creepy. And so yeah, Christoph Waltz, Hannibal Lecter. I just wanted all these calm, horrific people.
You contrast that so well with this absurdity of Felix.
Yeah.
Which is just, I guess, kind of the bonkersness of this mindset.
Well, yeah, I just think the more, it's great for an actor as well to go from that to that. It's great, and I love it every day. But as soon as Jordan talked about his character, I saw it was, again, it was Colonel Sanders, it was Father Christmas.
Jimmy Savile. We said. We discussed like there's something.
Yeah. But again, I actually think the Felix character, because again, it's been a big talking point with friends, and so I'm thinking if I do it with the Jimmy Savile voice tonight.
Just don't say now then.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's genius, Felix, because he's written this upbeat song, and it's the perfect explanation. Is there was a lady in on Saturday night who the poor woman sort of said, "Oh, this is jolly." and then until the chorus. Well, sometimes I do try to get. I know I love this part. They're never going to clap these people. They're getting over Hurricane from the song before. And they're like distraught, and their hearts are ripped out.
Yeah.
So for that point, they're not going to go with me necessarily. They're going to watch me, but not join my Felix's journey. But yeah, this woman was like, "Oh, it's quite nice." And then I went, "Oh, the hangman," and this went. So it was like, and it was actually it's Jordan's husband who gave me a really good note that I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know why I've never thought of that." That it's Trump. It's just Trump inciting.
Yeah.
And that explains it totally to me. It is Trump.
Totally. Absolutely. Jordan, before we open it up to our audience, I wondered if there are any specific instances in your mind where each of these performers, just purely through their performance, or maybe they've made a suggestion or anything like that, and you've gone, okay, yeah, that's exactly what this means.
Oh my God. Honestly, I think it's just like generally speaking, just everything they do is instinctively right.
Yeah.
They're all just so talented and smart that there's barely been a case of like, "Oh, actually, I think you should try it like this," or "Can you say it more like this?" It's people just naturally have really good instincts, and they're all very brave and bold. And so in the rehearsal process, everyone would just go for it and try something and throw themselves at it, and there was never any inhibitions in the room, which is really important when you're creating something. So yeah, like I remember the first day we did Felix Farley, and like Steve just like got up and literally like danced around the room while he was singing it. He had just learnt it like an hour before, and there's just no qualms. Everyone just goes for it, and so I would just have to say, like, generally everything they do is.
Well, with you specifically as well. I mean, it must be an interesting position. I mean, it's a very unique position for you to be in.
Yeah.
To be heading up this show, not only behind the scenes, but also, you're on stage the full time, coming into a rehearsal room, going, right, this is the book, and this is who the character is. I mean, it's a bold thing to do. Was there any moment? I mean, I guess it must have been tough to get into that mindset.
Oh yeah, it's been the hardest thing I've ever done. This process, like from the beginning of rehearsals till now, in terms of in my career, but also it's been the most enjoyable. Like I feel like I'm dreaming still today, but it's so all encompassing because obviously I'm playing the role, and then I'm also wearing the hat of the book writer. So I'll be on stage, and I've got so much better at it. And I am fully immersed in the role, but you can't help yourself as the writer but notice like certain beats or a certain line. Like I know the script inside out. I could go on and play any of the characters today, So it's like if a certain word is different, it pings in my head. There's all of those things which I'm trying to suppress. And then also musically, if something the violin's doing something slightly different to yesterday. Oh, okay, this is like dragging a slight beat behind. So it's very, it's like being underwater a lot of the time, but also it's kind of thrilling. I love I'm kind of addicted to that pressure pot of the bubbling tension that is on stage. And I actually think it helps the nervousness and the anxiety of the character. It helps me like really lean into it. But yeah, it's a crazy process writing everything and being in it. Yeah, and I don't know I'm having time in my life, but I think when I continue to write things in the future, I wonder if maybe I'll just write it. Yeah.
Amazing. Right, I think we've got time for a couple of questions. Does anybody have any burning questions? Right, hand straight up.
How have the characters differed from when you first started playing them to now?
Well, I think
when you do any show, your characters develop every performance. You find new little things, or that worked quite well, or with different people and different the audiences really influence a performance actually, because sometimes they're very rowdy, and so you get pushed along with them, and that they find things funny that maybe last night didn't find funny, and so it's like an ever-changing thing for me, I think. I think it's just constant, and then you get a bit bolder and a bit.
And I think for us, like having done a few of these iterations with the workshops, having different people play the roles. So half of the company did the workshop 2 years ago, then half of the company are new. So like doing those scenes with a different energy changes the way that you present yourself in the scene as well. Like me personally, working with Dan, opposite Dan, who plays Richard, he's so different to any of the guys that we had played the part before, so it then in turn changes my performance. Like he's so kind of dangerous and has like this just such a dynamic, he's got such a dynamic performance that it makes me feel nervous when I'm around him. So I think, naturally the people that you work with, it changes as well. Yeah.
Any other burning ones?
So this is more to do with specifically the writing of the characters. So obviously it's based on a true story, but there's rather limited information about the two men in particular. I think it's clear why the mother was written as this whole comedic start to then go through the tragedy in the second act. Is there a reason why, Jordan, you wrote the two men to be almost so juxtaposing in their personalities? Like, is there a reason you wrote their personalities as they're portrayed, or just you thought it'd be fun?
Yeah, no, I think kind of a mix of both. I think I didn't want them to be two kind of identical characters. Like I wanted them to feel like they were from two different worlds, and Richard is this confident, charming guy who can kind of walk in a room and everyone like looks at him and he lights up the room. Whereas William's more of a wallflower who prefers to observe. And I thought when I was writing it, there's something really interesting in that juxtaposition and how these two people would be drawn together and bring certain qualities out of each other. Like my falling in love with Richard allows me to find my strength and find my voice and defiance at the end of the piece. And so I think, it's a mixture of it being a bit of fun as well, because
so it's quite nice to have this true story that you can bring to life that hasn't been as shown as it could have been, but you can create your own creative flair.
That's the thing, like we don't have any kind of evidence about what these people were actually like. I have very limited documents which just purely described like the act that happened in the case, and it described that these two men were in love in one of the articles I found. So like that's everything. And so from around then I've had the ability to create. And so I think that's I think it was definitely a conscious decision to make them feel very different, for sure. I think it makes it more interesting to see these two people go on that journey, I think,
I think we've got time for one more.
Sorry guys, we're going to have to start wrapping up now.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, absolutely. I think we might be out of time.
My question is, how did you change from the bad officer guy to like vibes of Master of the House?
What? From the opposite to Felix?
Felix kind of gave me the vibe of Master of the House for it.
Did he?
That's good, actually.
That is good. How did I change? I don't know. I do it, I suppose, I'm a typical boring actor. I love putting stuff on. So I purposely change my hair and wet it down and make my hair different. And then I put those glasses on. So to me, I become a different person.
And the suit.
And the suit, the suit is very different to what everyone else wears, because we wanted to show class of Felix, and you'll notice he's got like different shoes, the shoes that everyone else wears. So as long as I'm putting that on, I start to feel different, and I try to make my voice different and much higher and silly.
It did take a while to realise the character that it was actually you.
Did you? Oh, good.
That's
yeah.
good.
That's great.
That's a natural skill.
Well done.
Well, thank you so much for coming to this Q&A, guys. Give our panel another massive round of applause.